You know, some success stories feel like they're just a bunch of happy accidents. A lucky break here, a coincidence there. Well, this is not one of those stories. This is the story of a career built with the precision of a high-performance engine, where every single piece was chosen for a very specific purpose. This is the deliberate design of Enora board.
So let's set the scene. It's Tokyo, 2023, the 30th anniversary of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development. We're talking a huge deal. And up on stage, right alongside the heavy hitters of Japanese industry and foreign policy, is Enora Borgne. She's not just in the audience, she's a featured panelist. This is the big leagues of Japan-Africa relations, and she is right at the heart of the conversation.
So you have to ask, right? How does that happen? How does a marine biologist, an ecologist from the island nation of Seychelles, end up on that stage helping to shape business and policy? That is the fascinating puzzle we are going to piece together in this explainer.
Okay, before we dive in, just a quick heads up. When you look up this name, you might find two incredible professionals. Our story today is about the woman on the left, Enora S.M.T. Borgne, the JICA scholar and ecologist from Seychelles, not the researcher in France, just so we're all on the same page. Now, let's get to it. All right, let's rewind the clock. Part 1, Forging a Scientific Compass. Every great journey has to start with a solid foundation. And hers? Well, it was built with some serious foresight.
Her story starts in Seychelles. And look, this isn't just a random fact on a biography page. It's a foundational asset. Growing up there meant she was naturally bilingual, fluent in both French and English. This just baked in an ability to move between cultures, a skill that would pretty much define her entire career.
From Seychelles, she heads to France to build out her scientific toolkit. She gets a bachelor's in life sciences and then a really specific master's degree in ecology, and ecosystems. This wasn't just general biology. This was a deep dive into how living systems work and, crucially, how they deal with stress. Now, I want you to remember that degree. It's going to be the scientific key to her entire mission later on.
So she's got this amazing scientific foundation locked in. But then comes the pivot, the moment that completely changes the game for her. And that brings us to part 2, answering Japan's call.
So what was this call? It was something called the ABE Initiative. Now, this is not your average scholarship. It is a critical piece of Japanese foreign policy, run by the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA. And their goal is crystal clear: to train African professionals to become what they call navigators, basically human bridges who get the needs of Africa and the culture of Japanese business.
And what was the impact on her? Well, in her own words, it was life-changing. Just 2 words, but man, they tell you everything you need to know about the shift from a career in European science to a brand new mission with Japan.
But here's the thing. She didn't just sit back and let this amazing opportunity happen to her. She went all in. She knew the key was, as she put it, studying Japanese and trying to communicate proactively. And she didn't just learn a few phrases. We're talking about earning the N2 certification. That is a seriously high level of fluency. It just shows she was the architect of her own success. So here she is in Japan, she's crushing the language, and she's ready for what's next. This brings us to part 3, the unlikely training montage. And trust me, this is where the story takes a turn you will not see coming. First, she doubles down on her science credentials. She gets a second master's degree, this time in marine biology, focusing on bio-resources. Her specific research was on the feeding habits of sea cucumbers and sea urchins. Pretty specialized, right? But okay, so far it all seems to track, deepening her expertise.
And then this happens. Her mandatory internship, a core part of this whole program, was at a company called Essentia Holdings. And what do? They support restaurant franchise businesses. You heard me right. Restaurant franchises. This is that wait, what moment.
And this is the central puzzle of the whole story. Why on earth would this strategic Japanese program take a highly trained ecologist, an expert in marine life, and have her spend months learning about the restaurant industry? It seems totally bizarre, but it turns out it was the most brilliant move of all. The answer to that crazy question is in the final act of her training. Part 4, A Mission for Africa. This is where every single one of those seemingly random threads weaves together perfectly. And boom, here it is, the big reveal. Her job, right now, is managing international sales for a product called Tokyo 8. And what is the business model?
It's a microfranchise. That's the word. That's the key that unlocks this entire strategy. That random internship wasn't random at all. It was the exact vocational training she needed for this exact job.
So what is this Tokyo A stuff? Well, the whole system is just genius. Step 1, a company in Japan takes urban wastewater sludge, you know, the gunk. Step 2, they upcycle it, transforming it into this powerful biostimulant full of microorganisms. And step 3, the magic part. They use that product to bring depleted African soil back to life, creating food security and helping local entrepreneurs start their own businesses through that micro-franchise model.
And do you see? This is where it all just clicks into place. Her first master's in ecology, that gives her the scientific credibility to talk about soil health. The ABE Initiative, that gave her the mission and the network. And that weird internship at the franchise company, it gave her the exact business model she needed to make it all happen. Every single step was part of the plan.
Her whole journey is basically a closed-loop success story. She is the living, breathing proof of concept that this whole strategy of cultivating human talent actually works. She's the perfect outcome of the ABI Initiative's goal.
And that brings us right back to that original word that Jika uses, navigator. Enora Borgne is the navigator, personified. A leader who is systematically, deliberately cultivated to build a real, sustainable, commercial bridge between Japanese innovation and the needs of the African continent.
Her story is just incredible, right? But it also leaves us with a much bigger question to think about. Is this the future of global partnerships? Moving away from just providing aid and shifting towards a new model of strategically investing in, training, and empowering human navigators to build their own bridges? It's a powerful idea, and maybe, just maybe, a blueprint for the future.